Gavin, thank you for talking to us. 3-2 victory at Waltham Abbey this afternoon. What was your assessment of our performance?
I mean, firstly, and I'm not just saying this, we spoke beforehand actually, so it's not a hindsight decision. We said, you know what, traditionally lulls come in this game, at this stage. I'm not sure we had a lull. I think there were some really pleasing things. There was certainly things that we've got to work on, 100%. And we're bringing some new concepts. You know, we're bringing an entirely new concept. It takes time. You know, that's the general thing. You want it to be as quickly as you can make it. You know, and some things are coming quicker than others. But you know, we saw today that we're off to a very good start. I thought took out of training into the game for that first 15-20 minutes. Looked good, and I think then concepts of what we were doing didn't quite add up. And when I mean that, we were too deep at one end and too high at one end, and it doesn't matter who you're playing, you're going to get played round, you know, and we started to see that. So we need to put that right, and I think that needs work because it's new and it's fresh to the players, and you know, so that's what we'll do.
That said, did you see any improvements from Tuesday when I think the assessment, sort of whether fairly or unfairly, was that you were slightly downhearted?
I wasn't downhearted. I just felt that on Tuesday that I'd given some players the opportunity, players that maybe had been saying to me that they deserved the opportunity and were better than what we got. And I said, okay, we're going to give that opportunity. And I was disappointed that those players didn't give me a much harder decision in respect of who was staying at the club and who wasn't. So from that point of view, yeah, that was more how I was downhearted. That I wasn't given much more of a problem. In respect of today, I spoke to John and Dino, and we pretty much think that we're where we thought we'd be. To be honest with you, we're bringing a completely different style of football into this football club, and that is actually going to have its ups and downs, and it's going to take time. You want it to be quicker than than not, but essentially you have to look at it and go, okay, understand that it's pre-season, understand that we're not quite there, and understand that we now have work to do in order to make it right. So yeah, it's a fairly pleasing day without being unbelievable.
That said, that style of play certainly paid dividends very early on. Marcus Wiley getting on the score sheet, and we certainly sort of took the game to the hosts at times, I think, certainly in the first half.
Which is what we set out to do. So the concept of today, we spoke early on about in the first couple of games against Spurs and QPR about being out of possession and being low in the field. We're now into that position where we want to actually be taking the game to the opposition. And if we've seen a half of football, a 30 minutes of football that's proved that we are taking on those concepts and putting them into practice, then that is progress. That is progress. Have we seen a 90 minutes of football in that? Of course we haven't. I mean, we've made a complete change of a side at 70 minutes, and you know, really pleasing to see the academy boys coming in because it's a big part of what I aim to achieve. I think you know, we need to work with those lads and give them some sort of focus that Enfield Town's first team is where they need to be in a few years' time. We're not ready, you know, not ready by a long shot, but you know, in these sorts of games, if we can give them minutes and give them the ability to go back to Ian's group on Monday morning or whenever it is and say, do you know what, I've been with the first team, then it just shoves forward in their mind that you know, we are thinking about them and that we have a pathway.
Personnel wise, we had a few missing today. I think Ollie Knight's getting married, and presumably Louis Birch had some involvement perhaps as well. And is there any news on Carlos Velasco or Carl Bailey? Or
Carlos is away, which was pre-planned. He's in Spain, comes back tomorrow. Obviously Louis and Ollie you've mentioned, and Carl Bailey has got a slight injury basically, so we don't expect him to be out too long. We expect him to be hopefully in contention for Tuesday, and obviously Taffy, you know, we've had the news about his metatarsal, which is a blow. You know, it's going to keep him out for a fair amount of time. So you know, obviously we are missing a few players today, but you know, it gives others an opportunity to go in and stake a claim, and you know, it gives us food for thought. We'll get the VO. We'll have a look at the VO Waltham Abbey will kindly send us that, and we'll sit down and go, do you know what? Why we see some of the negatives, if you like, from today, why we're seeing that, and enhance the positives. You know, it's all about pre-season.
Is it a plus from your point of view to sort of go into a game scenario straight away on Tuesday rather than perhaps sort of another training session, or would you rather be sort of back at town with the boys?
Pre-season is relentless. It's relentless, and I mentioned the lull that we had today. You know, we expected a lull. Well, I'm not saying either way that we got it. We got it in some respects, but didn't get it in others, and it wasn't a surprise to us. But I suppose it just comes with the territory. In some respects, I think we're going to need to be fitter. In some respects, and in other respects, you're trying to avoid injuries. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation where you want the boys to have game time, but you also understand that loading that we're giving them and that we've been giving them over the last sort of 5 weeks is difficult on the body, and it's got the potential for injuries. At the moment, you know, Carl's injury is a kick, okay, so it's not muscle related. Taffy's injury is a kick, so it's not muscle related. So we're in actually quite a good place with it, and you know, so we're in a position where we think, okay, we're hitting where we want to be with the fitness, and of course we've got another 2 weeks to get that into place. 2 more friendlies, 3 training sessions, and we'll work hard to do that.
And on a completely different note, the draw for the Phoenix tournament has been made. I suppose you know where we're going yet, or
I do, yeah.
Copenhagen and Llanwhip Major.
Yeah.
Your reaction?
Well, you know, I understand why this club has entered it. I totally got that from the very, very start. Some might suggest a bit of a distraction, but no, I understand that for the benefit of this football club, that it gives us that exposure. It gives us a very, very different sort of competition to focus on that most clubs in our level, and certainly within non-league, won't have ever had that opportunity. And I understand that you know, for us as a fans-run, fans-owned club, it is a fantastic opportunity, not only for a bit of exposure, but also for hopefully some of them to travel to some faraway places, or not so far away in the Wales aspect, and put Enfield a little bit more on the map.
And from your point of view, you must be looking forward to it to some degree.
I've got a team to Europe. It's incredible. Yeah, it's one of my tick boxes. So I've done at the moment what most Premiership managers haven't been able to do in respect of getting a team to Europe. But no, seriously, yeah. Listen, we'll embrace it, and we'll go at it. It's a good competition, and you know, I know that the other clubs that have been in it have been fond of it, and it's worked for them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gavin. See you again Tuesday.
Cheers.